Jen, can you reshare because all I see is your desktop?
Are you seeing it now?
Nope, just your desktop.
Okay. We good now, Diane?
Yes, I see it now.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. We really appreciate you joining us tonight for this webinar. We appreciate your time on this evening. We are going to get started. We are taping this. We will be sending it out for folks to look at. So we want to be sure that you get the information you need. One of the things that we do in HOSA is we share with you the purpose of the event. And I'm Jan Mold. I'm the Director of Competitive Events for this organization. And I'm so pleased to be sharing with you tonight about one of the most important things that we do. Employers across the nation say that they need employees that can communicate. And oftentimes in a healthcare setting, that communication is written. We also think it's extremely important that you know the relevant health policy and issues that are going to face you as healthcare providers. As you know, as you watch the news, as you try to keep up to date, healthcare is changing rapidly. And in my lifetime, which is a lot longer than yours, I've seen some really significant changes. And you will too as you go through your career. So it's important that you're able to address those health concerns and issues that are going to impact both you as a provider and your patient as a consumer. We want you to be empowered to make a difference by voicing your opinions and concerns. And one of the ways you can do that is by sharing in a written format. So here's some things that you need to know about this event. And I pulled these straight from the guidelines. In fact, this first one is 6A in the guidelines. For this event, extemporaneous writing health policy, you need to bring a laptop or a tablet. And specifics regarding that laptop or tablet will be shared with you in the guidelines under 6A. When you get into the room, you're going to receive a secret topic. Everybody has the same topic. It will identify a relevant health policy or issue. And then you're going to have about 60 minutes exactly to write an effective letter to a policymaker. And that policymaker will be identified. You can take the pro or the con side of the issue. That's entirely up to you. But you're going to upload your letter, which will then be sent to judges. Those judges will use the rubric. The rubric are the last pages of the guideline and extremely important. One of the things that judges share with us in feedback is that they oftentimes see students miss points because of just really simple things that are outlined in the guidelines. So one of the things that we hear frequently and we want you to really plan on doing is to read those guidelines, not just once, but a few times, and then have somebody practice with you. Have somebody that you really like to work with come up with a health policy issue and practice writing that letter. Your English teacher would be thrilled that you were writing. They'll be, I think, happy to look at anything you had written so that you could get some feedback on it. It's really important that you look at what points are allotted for each of the things that you'll be judged on. Name, address, appropriate salutation, a subject line, identification of the constituents, identifying information for yourself. Then you need to look at the topic and come up with a statement either in support or opposition. Remember, you can go pro or con, but you need 3 supporting points for that particular position that you've taken. And one of the things that really makes it impactful is that personal story. That thing that you can use that makes this topic one that you would be interested in. And then a conclusion. And these are not things that are new to you. I know that you write conclusions every time you write a paper in school. So it's real important that you have a strong conclusion and then ask for a response. Like all good English papers, you're graded on grammar, spelling, and punctuation. This particular event is sponsored by Rubin. And I want to take this opportunity to introduce Danny Rubin to you. He is the founder of Rubin, an educational curriculum company and proud HOSA partner. They provide health science classes and other CTE programs with online resources for employability skills and career exploration. Danny's a former TV news reporter for CBS and also producer for NBC's Meet the Press, which I think most of you have heard of. Through his company, Danny shares important communication skills that students can use for both college and career opportunities. So I'm going to stop sharing and let Mr. Rubin have the stage here.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to join you tonight and for our company to sponsor the competition, which is near and dear to our hearts. We believe that writing skills are a superpower. And I want you to understand, because even a year ago, we weren't having this conversation, but now we are saying, well, why does writing even matter? Can't AI just write everything for us? Well, two things I want to share with you. One, it's writing is an act and an art of critical thinking. It's about learning how to put your thoughts in a progression to make sense to someone else. And so when you write, and this competition is a perfect example, you are trying to organize your thoughts on paper so someone else is moved to action. And the effort of writing will make you a more critical thinker. I also want to explain, and I had this conversation just last week with a friend who is a speech language pathologist, a popular occupation in the healthcare community. And she said that through her employer, which is a county government, she is not allowed to use AI to summarize patient visits. That is because it would put the patient's medical information into the universe, into the AI stratosphere, and that's a violation of HIPAA. So in the medical community, your own brain to your own keyboard is still paramount. And so the skills you'll gain through this competition will serve you well in the medical field for a variety of reasons. And you still will be required to use your brain in your job. Not everything can be summarized, at least not yet in this new era of AI. So I want to tell you, competing in this competition is a smart move on a lot of levels, and I'm really excited to see what you all do and how you compete. And on our company side, we want to offer you some pointers tonight and some resources for the advisors. Do we have any advisors in the room tonight? Can you raise your hand if you're an advisor here? Is the chat open, Jan? Can people comment in the chat if somebody
Diane,
wanted to?
Diane,
No,
could
the
you
chat
open it?
isn't opened, only that question and answers.
Okay, so people can't. I was going to ask them a few questions, but that's okay.
You want me to open
Um,
the?
well, it would be nice. I like to get a little bit of a, call and response. You can turn it off when I'm done, I suppose, but I do like that. So let me share my screen and share for just a few minutes some pointers for the competition and also the resource available to host the chapters through the advisor, so you can bring these lessons back to your chapter meetings. So our company, I'll just briefly explain, we provide curriculum resources for communication skills. We have a career exploration video library with profiles on various healthcare careers and then careers in other fields. We have an email etiquette teaching tool for Gmail that guides a student on how to write an email properly without slang and lowercase letters and casual texting lingo. And we have a curriculum called Emerge, which is a library of employability skills activities, many of which cross over into extemporaneous writing and being a good writer, a good critical thinker. And this is the resource that we're happy to extend at no cost to HOSA chapters. And I'm going to share a couple of lessons from Emerge so you can see what we do in there. And I would encourage you, if you'd like, you're welcome to take screenshots. I'm going to show some examples. You can bring these lessons back to your chapter. We have a unit called Email Etiquette Advanced, which is just a fancy way of saying sort of next level writing skills. And I want to share a couple of those writing skills with you. We have different sections called editing mastery, pronoun usage, which is not gender pronouns. It's just, you'll see in a second what I mean, being clear and not using pronouns versus nouns, using details to enrich our language, and using critical thinking. I want to share something with you students you may or may not have thought about before, but it's called removing INGs. We have a tendency when we write to use longer words or more words than necessary. And one of the biggest ideas I can share with you, which comes out of the world of journalism, is the idea that less is more. Hey, by the way, is the chat open if I ask a question? Did we open it or not?
Yes, it is open.
Okay. Can someone tell me what in the chat, what do you think it means when I say less is more? And while you answer, I'm going to share an example with you on the screen. What is less is more? What does that mean? Why does that matter in the real world where people are busy? Thank you, Jana. Quality over quantity. That's right. So I want you to look at my example here. Okay. Look at this sentence. At my most recent job, I was responsible for managing projects, working with clients, and overseeing our budget. Notice how all the verbs have ing. We do that out of habit when we write. Now I want you to look at an edited version. And by the way, thank you for all your answers. I see them coming through and you're nailing it. You all understand. Now I'm going to teach you a way to be more concise. Let's learn together. Look at this second sentence. At my most recent job, I managed projects, worked with clients, and oversaw our budget. The first sentence, 18 words, 31 syllables. Revised sentence, 15 words, 22 syllables. I want to ask you now, new question in the chat. How does this sentence feel compared to this sentence? Does it have a tone, a sense of confidence? How does this second sentence feel? Yes, Emily said stronger, more formal, more professional, more direct, more authoritative. That's a good word. I've lost the name of who said that, but when you're writing in competition, you want to sound authoritative. You want to sound and feel like all the words you're putting in the chat right now. And one way to do it is to cut out INGs. We have been having, we have, or we had, we were running, we were raising money, we raised money. I still catch myself and fix these words, and I've been catching myself for years. I still do it out of habit. So it's no problem if you find yourself with INGs on the page. Your opportunity in those 60 minutes is to read back through and cut out the INGs, reduce the word count, sound more professional. The littlest things make the difference in competition. The littlest words move people to action. We want words with emphasis, with oomph. That's when you make the reader pay attention. The reader go, that was well written. That point came across, that landed. That's an expression in the business world. That landed, that stuck. And this is a way to help you do that. Make sense, everybody? Thumbs up or hands? Any kind of a Zoom reaction you want? I want to make sure this is clear to you. And by the way, you're welcome to grab this example from your, like a screenshot. Okay. Now let's move to one more lesson. Okay. And another little hack, so to speak. Sorry, I have too many screens going on here. Let me move everything away. All right, we're coming back. And now we're going to pronouns. This one, again, gets by me all the time too, and I go back and fix my own work. Now, I want to be clear with what I'm telling you. I'm not talking about she, her, he, him, they. That is not the discussion. This has nothing to do with gender at all. This is about clarity. Okay? So I'm going to show you a writing prompt that has too many pronouns. Subject line of an email. Did you get it? Hi, Jane. Good morning. Did you receive it yet? I sent all of them over to your office earlier this week. When I called, she said the mail had not arrived. And I need to know ASAP if you have all of it. Please let me know. Now, let me ask you in the chat, how does this email make you feel? If you received this email, how would you feel? Unclear, overwhelmed, unclear, repetitive, unclear, vague. The truth is, we all do this in our writing. We put pronouns instead of nouns. We're moving quickly. We use the word this or that or these. We forget the reader might not know the noun we're referring to. My recommendation to you in your extemporaneous writing competition and in all writing is to over communicate. Use the same noun twice, 3 times. Don't lean on pronouns. It becomes harder for the reader to understand what you're talking about. So your challenge, you look for just 2 things out of today's little session, you're looking for INGs, you're looking for pronouns. And if you can train yourself to go back into your writing assignment, to go into your what you're drafting, and cut down the INGs, replace the pronouns, your writing will improve. Now, we don't know the topic. It's a secret topic, right? So we're not here to talk about answering the exact prompt at hand. We don't know. What we're talking about right now are fundamentals of good writing. So whatever the topic is, whatever your angle, your argument, your case, these skills are the bread and butter. These skills will make anything you write elevate and come across written at a higher level. And you want the reader to say, ooh, that was good. That was good. And they wrote it on their own. They didn't use ChatGPT. They didn't use something else. They wrote it by themselves. Okay? So those are the 2 pointers within the time we have tonight. Now, for the students and any advisors here, it's important that you know, not only do we have a library of, this is just 2 lessons out of dozens around writing skills and speaking skills, public speaking, interpersonal skills, resumes, interviews. This program is all of that. This is just 2 small parts. We also have a library of career exploration videos where we've interviewed people in all these different professions and many more. So it's great for chapter meetings or just students to watch on their own and learn about different careers. All of these resources integrate either with Google Classroom by syncing the content with Google Classroom, or into Schoology, or into Canvas. It's all designed for your LMS. Now, this is specifically for the advisors, but if students are watching and they'd like these resources, I would encourage you to take the link I'm about to share and give it to your advisor. We are offering, let me correct myself. We have offered, there I go, right? We all do it. We offer that the advisors can request the Emerge curriculum with all the communication skill activities for free for the chapter to help you compete for not just extemporaneous writing, but many, many different competition and competitive events. Okay. I'm going to put this in the chat, although it's probably going to get whisked away by the chat. But I would encourage, what the advisor needs to do is visit our calendar, book a 10-minute meeting, receive these resources for free for the chapter. Okay. Please, students, do not book a meeting. These are for advisors, so please tell your advisor to book the meeting. We will not be having these conversations with students. It's for the advisor to, but we encourage you to ask your advisor to share. Okay. And we would love to have your chapter using these resources and competing and preparing for the competitive events. Okay, we want to be a good partner and give you good stuff. And if you like those 2 lessons I shared a few moments ago, there's many more from what we call the School of Hard Knocks. Learning it on the job and sharing it back with you so you can look great while you're still in school. We got beat up out there and learned the hard way. You can gain an advantage right now. So again, we appreciate and are grateful for the opportunity to sponsor and be connected to a writing competition, which is so awesome. We love teaching writing. It is the doorway to so many good things. So thank you for your time. And again, we hope to hear from advisors who can reach out and request. No cost. Love to support you. Jan, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you so much. I don't know about you all, but I've made my notes here to work on my INGs because
We're all going to think about it now.
absolutely. You can get this link very easily for the landing page that Mr. Rubin just discussed is available on the guidelines page.
Yes, thank you.
So when you go into school tomorrow, you need to check with your advisor and make sure that they're aware of this resource. I think you saw from the lessons that were gone over, there is a lot of information that can be gained really quickly through these lessons. And I know that the career exploration is one that we really would like for you to learn as much as you can about the 250 plus health careers that are available to you. I'm going to tell you, as a nurse by trade for 40 some years, that writing was a part of every day that I was in a clinical setting, every day. So I think this just goes hand in hand with what you've been taught tonight, is there's always something we can learn. We appreciate your time. We will keep it open for a couple more questions if anybody has any questions for us.
Let me check. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me keep an eye on the chat here. Thank you, everybody, for saying nice things. We love to teach in these live sessions. It's so meaningful, and there's so many of you here. It's wonderful. Just lots of thank yous. I don't see any questions quite yet. There was a question about how do I know who my advisor is? And yeah, there was a question. I'm sorry. Is this open to anyone without us? Yes, you do not have to work with our company. This is free for the HOSA community. Okay, this has nothing to do with actually being a customer of ours at the school level. No, this is us to HOSA. That's it. So wide open. And there was a question about how do I know who my advisor is? I don't, if you want to, anybody wants to take that. And there's other questions about the competition itself.
If you want to be involved in the competition, your advisor would be your HOSA chapter advisor, is usually your classroom teacher. So that's where you need to start. At each chartered association, which for most of you is your state association, they decide which events they're going to offer. So you need to check and see if they're offering these events. Some states have area or regional competitions. The top 3 qualified to move on to state competition. The top 3 at state then move on to International Leadership Conference, which will be held in June in Indianapolis. And as a matter of fact, is their 50th anniversary year. So I think it's going to be an awesome conference. I've already been to Indianapolis and seen some of the sites we'll be using, and it's really exciting. So hopefully that helps you, but starting with your classroom teacher is the best place to start. The competitions are scheduled throughout. Some have already started regional competitions in some states. Some will be later in January or February. So you need to start checking with your teacher tomorrow morning and make sure, if you're interested in this event, that you get signed up.
It asked, is this a HOSA event? So the extemporaneous writing health policy is a HOSA event, but it may not be offered at your state level.
It's one of 103. But I think it's really one of the things that I think you need to know about is of those 103 events, many of them would require a writing skill, such as biomedical debate, research persuasive writing and speaking. There's a lot of different events that writing skills are going to be extremely important. So I think that this would be a great resource for you to have. None of the events are mandatory. They're all on a volunteer basis. If you're interested in competition, there's other things to HOSA besides competition, community service. We have a lot of different things going on, but of course, my favorite part's the competitive events. So, all right. I think that does it. I think we got most of the questions answered. So we will be sending this out to you so that you have the information. Thank you all. And thank you again, Mr. Rubin, for your sponsorship and for just your willingness to be on here tonight and share a really great couple of pointers for us.
Welcome. Thank you, everybody. I think there are still some questions, Jan. People are, if they want to stick around,
Yeah,
perhaps to ask.
we'll stay on, absolutely.
They're asking if it's top 3 or top 5. A lot of people are asking that.
Okay, some regions let top 5 go. Some, I should have said it depends on the state. Some states not, but some states do take the top 5. Yeah, I see some.
I'm gonna unmute Emma so she can answer
Okay.
or ask.
Hi.
Emma?
Yeah, sorry. So I had a question. So like overall for like all of the events, like I know that my kind of advisor that was leading the HOSA club said there was different events, but they never really specified. So like what are all of the events and like which ones do we have to do to like be in the competition, or is it like all optional? Like how does that kind of work?
If you go to the HOSA website, hosa.org, go to competitive events, and you'll see a drop down. And it'll say guidelines, and there are 104 events as of last week.
Okay. Are any of them like mandatory for us to take for the competition to be like valid towards us, or does it matter like which ones we do?
It is up to you.
Okay.
Some
qualify.
states will allow you to do more than one event. Some states don't. You really need to talk with your advisor about what's good for what works in your state.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Was a question Palin asked about any tips for public speaking, and I'll just do real quick. Practice removing and like from your speaking. Remove those words in between your sentences, and you'll become a much better public speaker.
One of the things I used to encourage my students when I was in the classroom is videotape yourself
Yes.
and then watch it back, because all of us do things that we don't realize when we're speaking.
Yep. We move around our hands, our body. We have to be willing to face the music and see ourselves.
There's a question about, is it online or in person? That again will depend on the state. Some states have all virtual competition. Most states have gone back. Some have a dual, but at the international, you have to be present in order to participate in the event. If your school doesn't have if you don't have a HOSA chapter at your school, again, I'd encourage you to talk to either your health science teacher or your career and technical director to see if they might find some interest in sponsoring the organization for you.
I'm gonna unmute Hamashi to ask a
Okay.
question.
Hello?
Yes. Go ahead.
Hi. I had 2 questions. One just about the meeting itself. Are we gonna be able to access the recording and the slides in this meeting somewhere?
Yes, it will be sent out to you. Everybody that registered will get the information sent out of where to.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And like in an email?
Yes.
Okay. And then a question about the actual essay. So how would you suggest to best like incorporate actual evidence since like we won't have sources or anything? And also like, is there any sort of preliminary research you would suggest doing, like looking at like healthcare news or something to kind of like predict or like kind of try to collect evidence you could use?
I think that is one of the things that we really encourage all of our members to do, is to stay as up to date as they can. And then the other thing is that I always encourage my members that were competing in an extemporaneous event is maybe have a couple of quotes that they had memorized that they could use in the situation. At one point we had an extemporaneous speaking event, and so a quote is always good, but we tried to make it to where you would have some possible personal experience, or if you had stayed up to date and reading what's happening in the news, I think you'll be in good shape.
Mm-hmm. So the topics are usually like pretty generalizable.
Yes,
Like you normally would know a decent amount of evidence already.
I think you would. Yes.
Okay. And um just like any tips for sort of what kind of style you suggest to write in? Like,
I'll defer to Mr. Rubin on that one.
One thing I would try to avoid starting every sentence with I. Let's not start with have every single sentence have the same cadence. The style is, as we've discussed, professional, not no slang, nothing casual, trying to say a lot in as few words as possible, and coming across as credible. I would also avoid, we didn't talk about it, but passive voice. We want to use active voice with the subject verb. Uh, the 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 research suggests. So if you can stay in that tone and that mindset, whatever your argument will come across with the right sensibility, the right tone.
okay, sounds good. Thank you for your time.
Great questions.
And
Mhm.
there's three more with their hands up.
All right, I'm fine, Diane. We can.
So Lana, I'm unmuting you. Lana, can you hear me?
Hello,
Hey, Lana,
how are you?
doing well. What can we answer for you?
So I need some tips for like I'm doing nursing assistant now, and I need like more tips for it. And I also want to have like more access for more like updates in healthcare professionals, careers, opportunities.
Okay, for the nursing assisting, again, the guidelines, going through those skills, practicing them over and over again. For
Mm-hmm.
career exploration, it sounds like this Rubin's program has a lot of that. So I would encourage you to talk to your advisor tomorrow when you get to school and ask them if they will make the commitment to get the materials that are going to be free to your chapter once they get it set up. Okay?
I'll
Yeah,
put
I
the
just
link
have
once
to.
more.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
just have to hit the the website, and I see it like show my advisor about it.
Mhm.
Yes. Just
Okay.
ask them to book a meeting. They'll receive these resources.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. There was a question about hand gestures and presentations. This is why you need to watch yourself on camera and observe if what your hands are doing. But generally, I would keep them down by my side as more than up in the air. And avoid being nervous. It's just knowing your content area, knowing what you're talking about. The more you know, the less nervous you'll be.
Hey, Lena,
Hello, can you hear me? I'm not sure if my microphone is working because earlier it wasn't.
You're good.
yes,
Okay. I was wondering, I know last year we had some links for research, but I was kind of like unsure of how I should distribute my time for like researching and then the actual writing part. I'm not sure if you guys had any like recommendations for how you can like evenly distribute like looking through the sources but not spending too much time because they were like a little long.
Which sources are you talking about, Lena?
I believe I'm not sure if all the prompts were the same for states. I'm from New Jersey and we had like the Nurse Shortage Act. I remember I spent like a good 15 minutes just in the beginning reading through it and that like kind of like offset me, I feel like. So I was wondering if you had any tips for how I could go about that.
I really think that practice is going to be key. The information that you're provided in the prompt is there to help you understand it, but I wouldn't overthink it. Does that make sense? I would read it through once, think about it for a few minutes, read it through a second time, and then go ahead and do your outline. Does that make sense? And then if your outline, if you feel like you don't have the three main statements, I'd go back again.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
A question about what strategies help speakers connect with their audience more deeply. One thing I neglected to tell you, the best strategy, whether it's writing or speaking, is to tell a story. Put your point in the form of a story. One thing I forgot to tell the group, and those who are still here, I'll tell you. We had a young lady in HOSA in California last year. We have a unit on job interview techniques where we learn to research the company, bring questions to the table about their business. And she prepared for a scholarship interview by researching the people talking to her. She was far and away the most poised person in that interview round, and she won the scholarship, $40,000
Wow.
by researching the room ahead of time and bringing questions. So you bring questions, you share experiences, you show you're prepared. That's what wins.
Okay, Zoe,
Hello. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Mhm.
All right. I just have a couple questions, but to start with, are we given any material to research before we write our paper?
The prompt will give you some information so that you are aware of the situation, but you are not allowed to research.
All right. And I would also like to ask, is there anything you would do to mentally prepare yourself before?
Get a good night's sleep.
All right. And I was wondering if there is anything like any type of research I would do like beforehand, like before I even research. Not like before we even go into the competition. Like to
Again,
prepare for it.
I think the best preparation would be trying to stay updated on the major healthcare issues that you see in the news. And
All right.
a good hint for that would be our healthcare issues exam resources. So if you go to
Alrighty.
guidelines, go to health career issues exam, those are current events in healthcare.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Have a great evening.
You too.
how many more would you like? There's Caitlin.
One more.
Okay.
Hi,
Caitlin?
I'm doing the prepared speaking event, and am I getting the prompt before or during the event?
Prepared speaking is based on our theme for the year, and that's Champions of Change.
So that's the prompt, Champions of Change.
Read your guidelines, yes. Be sure you look at the prepared speaking guidelines.
The guidelines are a bit confusing to me, though, to be honest.
Okay, we answered your question, right, Kayleen?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna unmute Mia.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I was wondering if there are any writing practices you recommend to do to be prepared for this competition, and like how would you sign up? And is there like a length you would say is the best appropriate for a prompt that you have?
I would bet the resources that are offered through the Rubin Company would be a wonderful starting point. So I'd encourage
Yes.
you.
I would say this, look, and this is a good way to combine the healthcare news and this competition. Go find a healthcare issue happening today. Write your own statement for or against as practice. It'll help you just generally become a better writer anyway, but it'll get you in that headspace about how you would tackle this secret prompt. So practice outside the competition, follow the news, take a position, explain your reasoning, write it
Mm,
for yourself, and ask somebody in your world to look at it with you. But that would be a great way to practice because it would also keep you connected to the news of the day. And then
Okay,
you can use
is
our
there any?
lessons to give it that polish.
Mhm. Okay, is there any length you would say is too much for when you're answering the prompt?
Yes, the rule of thumb is we generally write things too long the first time, and then we need to go back and cut things out. I would say whatever you write the first time, I would cut it down by at least a third. And you got to
Mhm.
figure out what you're saying multiple times, how you could condense your thoughts into a single thought. This is where competitions and in the business world, opportunities are won and lost. People go on too long. They start repeating themselves. They don't know when to stop. So
Mhm.
write it out the first time, go back and say, I must cut it down by a third. How am I going to do that?
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
How many more did you say you could do, Mr. Rubin?
Got one more.
Okay, one more, Diane.
Okay. Derica?
Hi, I just wanted to know if you have any tips for the research persuasive writing competition.
Again, you need to look at that. That's one that you have the topic before going in. You choose a pro or con. You're either affirmative or negative. And again, I think all of the lessons that have been gone over today would be helpful in that writing.
Yeah. I'll also add that persuasive writing is descriptive writing. So we don't want pronouns. We want proper nouns. We want numbers. Quantifying your argument, adding statistics, data, metrics, and using proper nouns, names of places, names of studies, names of body parts, names of equipment, software, medical tools. Fill up your argument with with rich language and numbers. Those two combined will give you a strong footing and make a great case because there's too much vague in the world. And when there's writing is vague, we tune out. When writing is specific, we lean in. So that's what you need to think about. Do I have, where am I, how am I backing up my claims with numbers? And am I using proper nouns? And we also have an activities about that.
So again, I think the encouragement is that you go in and talk to your advisor about getting these resources for you.
That's right.
No matter what event you're doing, I think it's going to be very
Right.
beneficial.
We hit on public speaking, job interview, writing, all ethics, so much.
So a variety of benefits. All right. Thank
Correct.
you all for your time. If you have a question that we didn't answer, if you want to email me at jan.mold@hosa.org, I'll be glad to get back to you. Thank you for your attendance.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you. It was
Thank you.
awesome. Learned a lot.
Wonderful. Talk soon.
All right.
And Jan, I think you can end the,
I'm doing it. Thanks, Diane.
bye.